Greetings, family. Welcome to the African Exodus show. I'm your host, Tony Cherie, here to you with a new video. Before we get started with today's segment, to remind you all, if you have not already added yourself to my Telegram channel, that's the best way to stay connected outside of YouTube. In fact, I'm going to be reading a question right from Telegram on this particular segment. You could go down to the description. It is very easy to download. You click the link and it will take you to the Telegram app. In addition, if you wish to support this platform, you could do so two ways. You could do so through CashApp, and also you can do so by adding yourself to my Patreon. So today we are doing the Set Apart segment. The purpose of this segment is to encourage the people of Yahuwah, the people of Yasharel, to separate from the Babylon system that we know is going to suffer a fate that has been prophesied from the Bible. So we know what's going to happen. We know the end of the story. We know there's going to be a mark of the beast that's going to require every single person within that system to have, to not be able to buy or sell without taking the mark of the beast. The Bible literally gives us the end of the story. And so what do we do with it before that happens? What do we do in the in-between to prepare for that system that we know is coming? And that's really the purpose of this segment. So I received a question, which made me have to pull in my husband, Teddy, because he's the best person as far as answering these questions. But I received a question from one of my followers on Telegram. And so she asked this question. I'm going to read it. She said, "Do you mind sharing more of your experience following your exodus from America to Africa? If you already have a video, I would like to have the link. My family will be making our exodus from America to Africa in August of this year. We have no plans of returning to the States. We will be purchasing land and building our home. We'll be renting an apartment until the completion of our house. Is there anything from your experience that you could share that would be helpful to us?" I thought about this question because it's one that I think is very important. And actually, we have been talking within recent weeks about doing a video just because it's been 1 year. Just, I think a couple of weeks ago, we hit 1 year living in Ghana after just leaving America somewhat abruptly, but realistically, we planned a lot of it. And so I thought it was a good video to do at this particular time. And I pulled in my husband because I can't really give that much of the particulars of what someone should do. But he was really the one who I would say did the majority of the planning, or so I was the consultant. You know, you consult with me. So he's the best person to answer these. So I don't know if we can go into depth in one video, but what we're going to try to do is hit some major points, and then maybe a few weeks from now, maybe we could hit more in depth on particularities. And so definitely in the comment section, if there's something you would like expounded, that would be helpful to know if there's a follow-up video that needs to be done. So with that, Teddy, you want to introduce yourself very quickly? You can also introduce your YouTube channel where you do some real estate.
All right. Hey guys, so my name is Teddy. I'm also the person behind Building Ghana's Future, which is also a channel on YouTube. Basically, we talk about real estate, buying land in Ghana, building homes, those such type of topics. All right. So as you mentioned, I am a husband, and I was basically the one that did most of the coordination to get us here in Ghana. So yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask the first question. I'm going to answer very briefly because, like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say on this, but I'm sure you'll give more in-depth answers. So the first question that we came up with is, did we make the right decision leaving America when we left America? I'll say for me, it feels like the right decision as far as I don't see things getting better. I see things getting worse if you look at what's happening, you know, with the wars and everything that's happening. And I think it goes to why we left when we left. It was really, I think we wanted to leave for a long time. We wanted to go to Ghana, but particularly during the COVID pandemic, when we seen how much we were just in the system, just because we have to work and you have to take care of your children have to go to daycare, your children have to go to school. I think when we realized, like, wow, if this system goes down, we go down with it, you know, that made us want to expedite our plans. And so since we left a year ago, I see things getting even worse. Honestly, I would not be surprised if you see a major war come out with America and Russia and Iran. Like, people have been floating the idea of bringing the draft back. It's been said by politicians. I think there was even something like with Biden's administration talking about bringing a draft back. And so I feel definitely at peace with when we left. I'll say that although there has been struggles, times of adjustment, times of like, man, can I really do this? I've never once felt like I want to go back to America, and that's pretty major because you thought I was going to want to go back to America at some point. So I would pat myself on the back that no, I've never had like okay, I need to just leave this place. But it does have difficulties and it does have adjustments. But overall, I think we left at a good time for us. So what do you think about the timing that we left a year ago?
So short answer, yes, it was a good decision that we made. Um, Although a lot of people, close family would think, what in the world are you doing? Because they don't understand. But it's a change of mindset, especially if you compare the generation of Ghanaians that flooded into America and all the other Western countries, because they're going over there for greener pastures, to have a better life. But now they have their kids that they took over there turning around and saying, no, we want to go back to Africa because that's where we feel like the prosperity that we want. That's where we feel like we'll have an actual peace of mind and be able to grow into the people that we want to be, in the end. And as much as, we see the physical side on what you will want, how you want your lifestyle to be when you move to Ghana or anywhere in Africa, there's also the spiritual aspect of it too, where you feel like, the Most High God is pulling you, because I don't think if we didn't hear his voice and prophecies that we received, I don't think we would have made that step, because we would still be thinking the Western world was the better choice.
Right.
But obviously God works in mysterious ways, because everything worked, in alignment with each other, with him speaking to us, and we all us also taking interest in what we wanted for ourselves and our children. Everything aligned, and therefore we had a change of mindset, which is the key thing when you want to make this switch from the West to here, because when you get here, there will be challenges, something that you probably have never experienced in your life before, different challenges. And it's enough for some people to pack up and go because they don't know how to handle it, right? So that's what she was talking about, because I knew some of the challenges, because I grew up over here before, I was of age before I left to go to the West. And so I knew some of the challenges that she was going to face. So me thinking, well, you're Americanized, you lived in America all your life. These challenges, and I know how you react to certain things, you probably would want to run back, to America. And for example, something like the electricity, the power grid going out.
Which I handle a lot better now, because we just got over like literally for 2 weeks straight, the power was going off every single day.
Right.
And if you think about how I used to handle it, would it happen like, let's say every other day? I did very good.
So yeah, because of her change of mindset and willing to accept the new challenges that come with the move, she has been able to overcome and, has calmed down a lot when those things happen. So things like that can even affect the type of work that you're looking to do for your residual income and those type of things. Because if you're thinking you're going to be working on YouTube and you don't have any power, no internet working very slow, it can be very frustrating, because now where you think you're going to be getting your source of income from and whatnot is going down the drain, and you go into panic mode. Like, oh man, how am I going to make this? But there are many ways to get around that. So that was, I guess, a little bit of a longer version, but all in all, to say that yes, it was a good decision because we enjoy our time over here. Our kids are happy. We are happy. We are working life at somewhat of a slower pace. We have time to think through on decisions that we are going to make. And, we are taking care of the family as well. It's not all about going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. And that's the only focus anymore.
Yeah, and just a few comments on some things you raised. I think that the reason why I'm able to handle it better is because kind of being prepared. One thing, like you said, you kind of get used to a slower pace, and you really can't get used to a slower pace unless you're forced to. You know, I'm used to, I mean, I used to work in law, so I'm very much like, okay, do this, do this, do this. And even, you know, I've always been active doing other things. So, you know, having organizations I was working in or just other interests. And so I'm used to this. And getting to just say, okay, here's what has to get done today. Other things, if they can get done, okay, that'd be good. You know, changing that mindset, I think, was helpful. So I'll say that, you know, this goes towards an important issue that you kind of raised indirectly was residual income, because I'm sure, as Teddy will attest, having a financial plan is very important when you're coming here. And so if you're coming to Africa, one tip I would say is if you are basing things offline, whether it's YouTube or just like an online business. One time we were considering doing like like contract work. Like there's different things that you can do online. Have a backup battery because, you know, that's actually something I purchased, and that's actually like a really good purchase. I think if you want to purchase like a power bank off of Amazon, that could get you through, you know, like I say, your electricity goes off for 10 hours. That will get you through to where you can do your work. And so I think the mindset change in that is like preparation. If I know I have to do something, then no, number one, the water can go off when I don't anticipate, and the power can go off when I don't anticipate. And if you always just have that in mind every day, then I think like, you know, like for example, like if I'm cooking dinner and I'm like, power can go off, like I'm going to blend something way quicker than I would before. Whereas it's like, oh, I'll be fine. I can wait till, you know, I'm cooking my meal, you know. So I think the preparation aspect, you know, so that's a small tip. Buy a power bank if you're doing online business.
I mean, if you are an online business, I mean, I don't know if that's one of your questions.
No, it's not. But go ahead.
But another, you know, tip, and usually I would give this information out in like a consultation type of deal, but briefly, y'all. You know, basically, if you're doing some online work, another thing you can look for also is a place that has a generator as a backup. You know, at the house that you're renting, it will be a plus to have somebody that already has a generator, so that the moment you lose power, you know, all you need is to get your gas or petrol in there, fire it up, and now you have power in your home. To be, you know, when it comes to water, someone that has a borehole system in the house as well that can, you know, so those are little things that you may not think about when you're coming from, you know, United States, because you're not used to that. You have no clue that even exists. So yeah, a little tip, you know, for her.
And it's interesting because, you know, when you think about being in America, it seems like a plus. But when you think just philosophically, going back to understanding that this system, we know the end, the Bible tells us the end story, that everything is going to be controlled to where they can control what you are able to buy and sell and whatnot. You know, it becomes a negative in that instance because the government could say, oh, you haven't followed our demands, so turn your water off, you know, and turn your electricity off.
It sounds crazy now, but
right.
Nothing is crazy anymore nowadays.
It's not. I mean, literally, I remember during COVID where people were forced to inject things in their bodies that they might not have agreed to. And I remember like some stores, like retailers, were actually saying you have to show us your card before we'll let you come. That was, to me, I always tell people, COVID was a warning shot. If you could not handle the decision that I'm not going to inject this in my body, and you didn't feel good with how you were treated for that, then let that be a warning. It's just going to get worse. So let's talk about things that you did not anticipate. I think that's a good way to start, and then we'll say things that you did anticipate. So what did you not anticipate that happened that I'm sure threw you off because you didn't anticipate it? I don't have. Well, I mean, I knew the water was going to go off, and I knew electricity was going to go off, and the water is not that big of a deal because we do have a backup tank. But the electricity, that's something I knew. I can't think of anything else that I did not
Well,
anticipate.
the stuff that you mentioned, because you know, even though you knew the power to go off
Yeah.
at some
I didn't
point,
think it was going to be that
water
often.
water will go off at
Yeah.
some point. The amount of patience you need to be able to deal with those things, right? Because once or twice you say, okay, you know, I knew it was coming, so
Oh, I got one. Okay.
I'll keep my cool.
Right.
But when it keeps happening back and forth, or the convenience, you know, power goes out right before you go to sleep, and you know, you open your windows and the mosquito will come in and it's attacking you in the middle of the night. Now you're hot and you hear mosquitoes going back and forth, and you're like freaking out because like I can't sleep. I'm hot. Mosquito is now attacking me. You know, it can frustrate you, and at that moment you're like, man, I want to go back to America.
Yeah.
Those are the type of things that, you know, will get you on the edge of your seat.
And I got the one, actually, it just came to me when you said that. The one that I did not anticipate, and I think it's not, Inkuno wants a snack. Go, okay, wait for a little bit, okay?
We'll come downstairs very soon and give you a snack, okay?
Okay.
We're doing a video.
So one thing that I did not anticipate is where we live in particular in Ghana. It's not all of Ghana, but where we live in particular, the internet can be very slow for uploading on YouTube. And I always planned on maintaining my YouTube channel. So really, by the grace of y'all, I've been able to get my videos up like on time for the most part. But I remember, I don't know if you remember the first day where I thought I was going to be able to upload like a 2-hour video, and I had to cut down my videos just because of that. And I remember like it took like 3 days, and I was like crying like the whole time because it would have took like an hour to upload this video in America. So that's, you know, but I think the bigger question, things that you didn't anticipate, things that actually messed with your plans. Yeah. So, okay, our plan was we come here very similar to the sister who wrote. We come here, we rent out a house. We were planning on, you know, a 2-year lease, and from there we would have our house built by that time. So I can already think of one thing is the land issues that we've dealt with.
Right. I mean, there are many things that will come at you that you're not going to anticipate, and like you mentioned, land is one, right?
You buy land and you think it's
done.
You
buy land and you think it's done because you meet people, you talk to them, they give you the information. You buy it. It can even be through a real estate company. You know, you're thinking, all right, everybody advise you, don't deal with the chiefs, you know, unless you're 100% confident that you're okay. But even that, they'll still don't believe them because they'll say whatever they want to say to get you to purchase what you want to purchase. And you're not going to find out the problems with the land until the day you go to break ground to start construction. That's where everybody from the woodworks will show up. You know, this is my land. That's not his land.
Yep.
Why are you over here? And all the problems is going to come up. So even with real estate companies, a lot of them have made deals with these, you know, governing bodies to get the land and to sell them to masses of people. But what we fail to realize is that oftentimes these real estate companies haven't paid the people they got the land from. So, you know, they have access to the land to sell it and whatnot, but they haven't fulfilled the end of their deal. So this, you know, type of issues you might face unexpectedly, you know, thinking that everything is good until it's not. So these are, you know, one specific thing that we dealt with, you know, and you would deal with it no matter, you know, unless you get a one-off that, you know, it's good to go. But if you anticipate getting into real estate, buying and selling homes, lands and stuff like that, you're guaranteed you're going to fall into one of these traps at some point, right? And oftentimes it's not a diabolical intention behind somebody doing this.
It could be good faith,
you know, pretty good faith. It's like, all right, this is my land and I'm trying to sell it, but there's somebody else over there that believes it's their land and they also have the right to it. So it's two people that don't agree with each other. And it could be even siblings, you know, from different moms, but the same father that don't agree to who has the right to the land, you know. So that's how it usually happens. roads, dealing with the roads.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Where
unpaved
you pick,
roads.
okay, this would be one good tip for the sister. Wherever you pick to rent, see your road access,
Right.
because when raining season hits, if you are like in the boonies, you could have a really difficult time coming and going. So you might find a house that looks beautiful, like this is perfect, and you see it and it's great, but you don't know because maybe you didn't take the drive to see it yourself.
Or you were in there during the raining season. Dry season,
right? Dry
everywhere
season is different, yeah.
Tolerable.
Yeah.
Right. So it gets to the raining season, the whole landscape changes. Even the places that are paved, could have flooding in those areas. So that can be a challenge too. That if you show up, the timeline that she's showing up, August, we're pushing towards Hamatan. If it's Ghana, I don't know if she's coming to Ghana.
East Africa.
Okay. So well, in Ghana, we're pushing towards Hamatan, which is the dry season.
Yeah.
So you will not see a lot of rain. So when you come at that time, you might escape the raining season, and everything will be good till the raining season starts, and then you realize, oh man, where did we just move into?
Yeah.
And you start facing more challenges. Driving on the roads, the way driving happens over here. If you have road rage, those type of anger issues, then you're in it for a long haul.
And bureaucracy, that's another good one. Like with the government, you might feel like, okay, I'm going to get my license, so it's very simple. I come with my application, I go, and it's simple. Unfortunately, you should have a different attitude. If you feel like I'm not going to pay someone to do their job better, which we would consider bribing in the West, but here, honestly, I don't know if I feel like it's bribing. It's more so like expedited service, because the real regular service could be like a 2-year wait.
Right. So, because of, and that's not to make excuses for what they do, because I myself, I don't agree with it. How things work within the government system over here. But in the States, if you can imagine, when you go to the post office or government offices, how we think about them. Like, oh, these people work very slow because they are protected. They have unions and whatnot, so they don't care. They just act however they want to act, and they'll get to you when they get to you. That times 10. When you get over here, you put in a normal application, and if you don't show a token of appreciation to the person that's at the front, the paper goes to the bottom of the pile, and it might stay there for a whole year before anybody even touches it. Right. So the people that give a little bit on the free end, or have connections, they're the ones that their paperwork is currently flowing, at the top of the chief's desk and stuff like that. So that can be frustrating too, especially if you're high strong on the Western mentality that I put in my application, I paid your fee, I'll be back in a week to receive my documents, that everything is approved, and you get there and they can't even find the paper. They'll tell you, oh, we can't find your paper, so you have to apply again. And, you lose your mind because now you have a timeline. Like, oh, okay, I need to get this. I'm going to get this in a week. And then the next week I'm going to do that. And then the next week I'm going to do that. And everything starts falling apart because nothing is going as planned. And people just seem to be moving on their own timeline, don't care about your time whatsoever. So
I'll also say on that line, whenever you are going to somewhere simple like a post office, understand that if you have anything that shows you're from America or from the West, you have basically a $sign on your face. So even I remember we got a package from the US, and the person sees, oh, this comes from America. So how much are you going to give me to give you this package that you had shipped here?
And they'll say jokingly, because obviously they can't tie you down for you to pay them something, but they're also serious at the same time. Like, look, let me get a little something so that, you got money, or you can afford to give me 10 cities, 15 cities.
Well, I actually felt like, when that happened, I think it was a package for my mom. I actually felt like it was like, we're not going to give it to you unless you give us.
Well, they can't do anything. You can raise hell in there and they'll give it to you, but it's going to be with an attitude,
Might
so
take you longer.
Here, there's some part of the culture, which again, I don't really agree with completely is to build relationships, right? So for example, when they come off like that, it's wrong, especially coming from the West. You're like, I already paid the fees, or somebody already paid the fees to get this package to me, so why do I have to pay you some more, right? But you can also see it as, this is, especially if it's something that's going to be happening a lot, this is my chance to build a relationship with somebody. Oh, hey Joe, all right, no problem, I got you. You slip 10 cities, you can even get their phone number, and they'll get your phone number, and whenever the package comes in, you don't have to even check the internet, or somebody notify you that your package is in. This person sees your name. Hey Joe, your package came in. They'll call you, they might even say, oh, I can bring it to you. Because I'm driving through that area after work. So it's the type of environment that we're in, that culture where you can have personal services, with something that would never happen. So it can be to your advantage when you know how to work the system. But if you don't, it's a disadvantage, and you always feel like somebody's out to get you. But you can use it to your advantage too.
Like, so here's a good example of using it to your advantage. So where we are working on building our house, we have a police barrier. Now, I think from what I've observed with you, you don't give the police money every single time they stop you. But every once in a while, especially one who you might have grown rapport, you'll give them money. And to us, it's like, that's, corrupt. You should not be paying public servants. Look at it another way. Let's say you are on your land, and let's say you have something called land guards, which is literally people. That's something else that I think I didn't anticipate, that there's actually people who get hired by certain chiefs, like, hey, if anyone builds on my land, harass them and even physically hurt them. So let's say like you are on your land, and let's say some land guards come, like, hey, this is what you can't build here. You can't build here. That cop who you were nice to, you were hospitable to, and who's always there, that person is your asset. You go and get that cop, hey, this person is harassing me. So that's one way, like, it kind of have to use wisdom, because you don't want to be looked at as like as a bank, like, oh, come on, like, I remember one time, I don't think it was him, but another one of the cops, oh, I need money for cocoa, and you're like, oh, next time you didn't give them anything.
Because they get, by law, they can't force you to give anything to them. So your right as in, I don't have to give you anything. But also at the same time, use wisdom when you're dealing with them, because these are the authorities that are governing the area that you're in, right?
You're living there, you might have a different attitude.
Right, you're living in that area. You become comfortable with them. They become comfortable with you. Any issues come up or whatever that you need to police, instead of going to the police station to even, report it or whatever, you can call that person that you have that rapport with, and they'll show up with 3 or 4 people right then and there, if they're available to come to your aid and to help you in a certain situation. So those are, that's one example that we can give, to see how you can take those type of relationships, to your advantage. And obviously the bad side too is that, oh, I gotta give this guy a little something. But you can also choose to think of it as in, all right, I'm building my case for, some other day that, today you're getting me, but another time I may need your help.
Right,
and, you better show up for me as well.
And these people also, they don't make a lot of money. So it's not like they're, rolling in cash. So if you also look at it like that, like, okay, maybe this might help this person a little,
Right. And sometimes it puts a smile on your face, because you're standing in this hot sun, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., you lose your mind, and most people can't handle that. So the fact that they have all this gear on, standing in there, checking to make sure that people are not, trafficking kids or whatever the case might be, all the same, you're, it's like, all right, I appreciate you standing over here and taking care of the area for us, and they appreciate that too. So sometimes it's because of how they ask.
They're usually respectful, though. That's one thing I will say. The cops
are jokingly, hey, a little something.
Even when they catch you doing something wrong,
right?
They're not usually like in America, like license and registration. What are you doing here? Like, they're not like,
you're going to jail today. Like, you can usually talk your way out of it, and they'll give you a warning and remind you that, hey, this is the law. Follow the law. I'm gonna let it slide today, but the next time around, I'm not gonna be so lenient, to letting you go. So.
All right, so let's go to the next question. So I said, what was not like you had thought it would be? So what was as you thought it would be? And obviously for you, it's going to be different because you have spent your up to your teens living in Ghana. For me, I had only visited Ghana twice and not that long of trips. What I thought it would be? I think the food, so good, the nature aspect, feeling freer, feeling content, even in simple things. That was something that I was happy it was what I thought. And I think generally, I haven't had like that much of expectations as far as how things go because I just don't know how it goes. But overall, I think just the culture and the family, the family friendly environment is what I thought it would be. You don't have to worry about what your kids are going to be exposed to like you would, I would say, in the West. So that's what I would think. What about you?
All right. So, I mean, to me, the peace was one.
Yeah.
A peace of mind, because every time I came back to Ghana, I felt totally different from, I felt more peace. Even though in America, I never saw myself to be stressing, over work or anything, but I still felt like I was more at peace every time I came to Ghana. So I was looking forward to that and improvement of health. I knew that,
we both look younger.
Right. I knew that coming over here, I'm probably going to lose a lot of weight that I gained just, bad habits at eating junk food at work and stuff like that, So all of that, within a couple of months, I think 3-4 months, I had already shed off like 30 pounds, that I came in and I never went for a run. I never went for a single run, since I came. So it's just the weather itself, being active, going back and forth in town, construction, stuff like that. It just changed my whole life all around. I feel much better inside. I used to have, what do you call that? The
indigestion?
No, reflux. Like acid reflux all the time. I don't even remember the last time I had any of that, although we still eat a whole lot of oil, like palm oil and stuff over here. In the States, like I would eat just one of those and like I would have it bothering me throughout the entire day. But now I eat it here all the time, nothing, so it's just the change in diets, the health aspect.
Palm oil is way healthier than canola oil.
Right. So there's a lot of plus being over here, and it's the little things that you come to appreciate when you make that change. Of course, you may not be making dollars like you used to, but it's a different type of appreciation you get.
So let's just go and give just most important things for anyone, let's say leaving this year. And as I said, if we get some really poignant questions, we can do like a follow-up soon but most important things to do, I would say, you'll go into details on this, but definitely have a plan, because one thing that I'll say I definitely did not anticipate to the degree, because when we used to visit Ghana, we were still working our jobs in the United States. So to me, it was like, oh, everything's so cheap here. It's so cheap here. And now, although now basically we're based here and the cost, you realize it's not as cheap as it looks, because you're buying something that you would buy from America if you're getting something imported. And while it's not necessarily more than it would be in America, it's like the same price and your currency is very different. Right. So it's going to take a bigger chunk of what you have than it would in America. Right. And so I would say definitely understanding that the cost of things can be expensive if you're trying to still have the same things in the West. So some ways, you can adjust. We try to eat local. I think we pretty much eat local. Like we don't really eat the stuff we used to eat. Even the stuff that I used to love, like we just don't eat. We basically eat the okra, the tamare. We eat the local food. So that's one way to not get hit so much. But if you are beholden that I have to have ground beef and I have to have spaghetti and I have to have, trying to think of some like real American stuff, pizza and cheese and all these things. If you're beholden to that diet, then it's going to be very expensive. Even like the snacks in America, they have, I remember that one girl did that video. They don't have the snacks. They don't have this. They have the snacks. They're just expensive. Like you can buy Rice Krispie treats here. You can buy Oreos. You can buy.
Because there are people that obviously come from the States that import those stuff mainly for, people that are from the States that live here now that want them.
Yeah.
So my parents, next to their store, we had that lady over there that sells everything American.
Right.
All the snacks.
It's like Walmart.
Drinks. It's like Walmart.
Right.
A mini Walmart over there, but it's all American products that was in there. But you go in there to buy, when you live in Ghana, you'd be like, no way.
Yeah.
I'm not, buying anything from here. I don't think we even went in there once.
I never went in there.
I looked at it from the outside through the glass door. I'm like, oh, she got Welch. What is it? Those gummy.
Oh yeah,
in gummies. There. Like I see all the drinks. I'm like, oh, that's American. That's everything American in there. But I never stepped a foot in there because I knew
the price.
It wasn't gonna be something that I would want to spend that kind of money on.
But something that I did not anticipate is that. So this is, I think, I don't know if it's your experience equally, but the things I wanted to eat really changed. Like I used to drink coffee every single day, twice a day. Mm-hmm. And now it's like I drink coffee maybe every few weeks. Like sometimes, like at one point, I think I went months without drinking coffee and I just drink tea. Like, and it wasn't like I'm trying to get off the coffee thing. It's like literally, I don't know if it's the weather or the diet. Like I just didn't crave it. And at one point when we first came here, I like pastries. That's my thing. And when we first came here, I was always like, Teddy, I gotta get my cookies. Like probably after like a month or two, like I'm just like, I'm not really feeling those. So
I gotta find something else.
And then it's like I started liking the local stuff like Bowfruit more, and liking like our lunch is banana and peanut, like something like banana and peanut, like so it's like that's one thing I didn't anticipate is that I don't crave the stuff that I would crave in the US, so
yeah, for example, if you're shipping stuff to whatever country you're going to, a lot of the stuff you might not even be interested in using.
That's important.
Don't ship so much stuff thinking I'm gonna need this, because a lot of the stuff you bring in, unless if it's for work, obviously it's for work, but a lot of the things for your comforts and stuff like that, you may not even ever touch them.
There are things that
there's so much sitting there that we don't even think about it, and it's just
I don't even know what's in it. Like literally, like there's some things I legitimately do not know what I packed. And so that's definitely because it all costs money,
it costs money to ship it here, dollars. And if you have that money now, it would be beneficial somewhere else. But because you've already spent it on shipping, it's gone.
Which is another issue.
Is sitting here doing, and then also the weather, like having this type of weather, things deteriorate. Quick.
Different. Yeah.
You bring in certain things, plastics, and outside within 2-3 months, the sun and the rain going back and forth is all breaking apart. Shoes, would the sole of your shoe will fall off.
Yeah.
Just because it's sitting outside in the sun. So it's like, it's all different things that you will learn over time.
I think
humidity and all these things. Yeah.
I think we definitely, if we had to do it again, we would possibly ship like a fraction of what we ship. Because even some things got jacked up, like our bed.
Broke before they got here. So now you spend all this money shipping it and it didn't make it here in one piece.
Right.
So because you shipped it, it's like, okay, I got to use it broken because I'm not trying to spend more money, to go and buy a different one or whatever. So it's, you can kind of take a break on the shipping. And it's even better if you come on vacation and you look for everything that you think you may need if it's available here before you go and do any shipments that, you have to. So
I could say if anyone's coming to Ghana, there's like a lot of the stores that you would like. There's a store called Palace. It's basically a copycat of Walmart. So don't assume like everything you can find it here. So if I had known, like I would have paid more. I would have shipped less and just bought some things going to Accra Mall or going to Palace and whatnot, and just got it there.
There's a whole lot of other places you can go to, but it comes down to transportation, getting there. How far away is it from you, and those
Do
kind
you
of
have
things.
a truck?
And one thing we did not anticipate is how tiring it is to drive over here because of the rough roads and stuff. It beats your body up, a few trips back and forth. Then you feel, tired. You don't want to just move around. I was going to say something else, but it just slipped my mind.
Well, let's go. Okay, so back to the
time consuming. That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
One activity for the day can consume your whole day.
Yeah. If you're used to like knocking multiple things out,
right.
You plan one thing a day. One thing a day. Unless you're like in the middle of our crowd where you can just like get to somewhere easy.
Around,
right.
Yeah.
If you're living out there. So I would say the big tips again, be cautious what you ship. I'm not saying, some people say don't ship it all, just buy all here. There's some things that are just better quality when you bring it from the US.
That's a lot.
So, there's a lot.
There's a lot of things that's better quality from that because of the standards. Like, you can't just bring anything to the United States.
Right.
They have a standard that you have to follow.
Right.
Whereby in Africa, it's like everything goes because
China.
it's there's a market of people that don't have as much, so you can't sell them an iPhone that costs $1,000. They would prefer one that costs $100, and that's for the people that are even well off. So a lot of people.
There's an iPhone store though.
There is. I mean, obviously it's here, but I'm saying like the quality of it is different from the right. So there are alternate brands over here. You find a lot of brands that you've probably never heard of here. But if you're looking for that American stuff, they are also available. It's just when you have settled in that country and, you've lived there for a little while, spending that kind of money will be difficult for you, to go in a store and take out 15,000 Ghana cedis to go and buy a phone. You'd be like, no, give me the 1,000 Ghana CD phone. So your taste of what you want starts to shift because you're not on vacation anymore. You're now actually living here, so you're being responsible for how you spend your money.
Okay. So I like bullet points. So be careful what you spend. Understand that time is going to be different here. If you're not ready to slow down, get ready because you probably will not be able to do as much as if you're really active, you have to take, okay, maybe I can do one thing a day. Financially, I think that's probably a good place to end off. You can give some tips like the biggest hurdle for anyone coming from the West, if you're coming to work here, which should be, I think you should have come to plan to do business here, but understand that the money making aspect is not like a quick return, and it could be like a small return. So, so I'll say, obviously, if you can have a way to make money still from the U.S. online job or whatnot, very beneficial. And I would say try to invest in something that's not going to bankrupt you. So, for example, if you're paying rent for a shop, that can cost a lot too. So try to think like, how can I make money here in a way that's not going to drain me? That's what I would think. But how would you term like having a good financial plan for Africa?
So one thing that I can say is that just have a plan, like you said, and it changes. It would change.
Yeah.
You would have to adapt, based on what challenges come at you. But I would say have a lot of your resources as in cash, right, available to you, because whenever that the opportunity comes, then you can jump on it. Liquid assets, because having material and those type of things, thinking, I'm gonna bring 5 cars, buy a big house and those kind of things, your taste will also change So when you have that liquid asset, you are able to move quicker and freely in the areas that, you actually start to find real interest in compared to what you thought your interest would be when you make that change. So having liquid asset too is a big plus, especially in your first 2 years, I would say, definitely it's beneficial.
And be careful what business ventures you jump in.
Right.
So for instance, someone might come to you with a really good idea. Hey, if you invest this in me, and I think that happened with us. Invest this in me, and I'll make you money, and then you'll find out that person wasn't even serious.
Right.
So especially if you're limited on income, just I would say do research, and be very intentional and careful with who you bring into your business sphere, right?
Right. So you don't know people's mindset. And as you had mentioned earlier, when you come from America, people tend to have that perception that, you have a lots of money, even though you may be living on a budget. Their mindset is, well, you're well off than me. So, and it might not be.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
comparatively.
when you change your money, more than likely you're doing better than a lot of people here. But you have to be wise on how you spend that money, because if you're not making more dollars, then whatever you have is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you end up on the same level as the people that were looking up to you, right? So just be smart on how you spend your money, and make sure that whatever you have, when you spend it, it's bringing more money back in.
And I know you specifically, when I brought up the question that the sister gave me, you specifically thought, when she said she's renting, but she's going to be building a house, construction, the costs are very unpredictable.
Right.
And it's probably going to be a lot more than what even the estimate that you get.
Right. So you're dealing in construction. You're going to find people that will charge you double, triple, the price, because you don't know any better, right? And even if you knew better, they still see you as well off. So they want to charge you, a little bit more than they would charge the average person in that country. So you have to be mindful. Sometimes you have to spend a little money to save some money. And I'll explain that. Me being over here and dealing in construction, I always had to have some people next to me, have a worker that's closer to me that can help me understand the pricing or whatever. Sometimes I'll even allow them to do the negotiating, at the forefront before I step in. So they will start with the talks. Okay, how much is this one? Okay, we need 10 of those. Can you bring the price down to this, this amount? And if the person is going back and forth, oftentimes they will look at me and say, well, that guy is American, or that guy is a Boga. Boga means somebody that has come from the outside. So he should be able to pay that. And then I'll jump in, and then I'll give him my 2 cents, and then I'll, initiate my own negotiation skills to bring the price down to where we need it to be. So you have to be kind of a little bit tactical in your approach when you're dealing in construction, because it's a lot of money going out and nothing coming back in. Your building is going to be going out, and the last thing you want is a lot of money going out and not seeing any productivity on your working site. You've spent all this money by building blocks, and the building blocks never showed up, on your construction site, because the person decided they wanted to, we'll supply it to you in a month after they've already taken your money. So now your timeline, everything is ruined. Whether the season changes over here, when it starts raining, it really starts raining. So productivity just drops down to almost zero. If you have brought people in from somewhere far away to come and construct your building, now they're sitting there looking at you like, hey, we need to get paid. And so how are we going to get paid? And that they can't do some sort of concrete casting or whatever when it's raining, because it's going to get ruined. And so you don't want them to work, all right? And because you're going to be wasting your money. So stuff like that, if you haven't been in it before, you need somebody to hold your hand, in a sense, to help you navigate those terrain. So, yeah.
So I think that will be it for today. And I'll just mention for anyone specifically going to Ghana, and if you're doing construction, Teddy has worked on a book that is very simple and easy that he can send over to you. I don't know if you want to give the information on that, but basically a breakdown of construction in Ghana where he gives really helpful tips that you won't find out except for if you know a Ghanaian who is in construction. So you could plug that, and as well as your channel, Building Ghana's Future. So if you want to just give that breakdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to construction, I've been through it. You know, if you follow my channel or go on my channel, you see that I show the whole process of putting our home up. Home is not complete yet, but at least we have gotten up to the roofing level, completed the roofing level. And I put together a guideline that gives you that information as to what to expect even before you start constructing your home, things that may come out of the woodwork that you didn't expect. So it's kind of like this conversation that we're having, you know, the challenges that you will face. So that gives you a leg up before you go into constructing your home. All right. So yeah, it's a guideline that you can go on my channel, find that information over there, contact me, and we'll be able to work out.
What's your email?
Payment. So buildingghana'sfuture@gmail.com.
So that will be it. Thank you all for watching, and y'all willing, we will see you, or I'll see you in the next video.
You often refer to the Bible, but many of the young people who are coming to your concert don't believe in the Bible anymore.
Because the way they've been taught about the Bible, that is not the way of the Bible. You know what I mean? Because if I was living in that world where the everyday interpretation of the Bible go on, then I would have eaten the Bible too. But now that we have found the right way of the Bible, then the Bible is to be loved, because the Bible is a record of man creation. It's the only book can show you where mankind began without any prejudice or anything like that, any boastfulness, pride or anything. It just have how it go, and that's it. Well, all the Christian people, not even the Christian, all the people who go to churches interpret the Bible and the preachers them. That is not the right way. Because the greatest thing is that life. See, it's life. Life I deal with. If the preacher read the Bible and tell you that you have to die to go to heaven, then he's not reading the Bible. Because the Bible tells you you have to live in a heaven. You don't die and go to heaven. You have to live in heaven. You know, a lot of places on earth could be, but Africa is our heaven, because that's where we come from. You know, maybe if it's a Swiss, maybe if you're from Switzerland and the people know God, then maybe you can live in peace, unity, harmony, you know. But you know, people are stubborn on this earth because of material vanity.
To a time when the emperor first became a symbol of his country and of all Africa. Only a veteran can now remember when the last and most brutal chapter of the European scramble for Africa began. 1935, Italy claimed Ethiopia and Mussolini's troops invaded.
Arriverà al benessere, alla potenza e alla gloria. Black men the bugle call, come on, come all the drums are beating and the bugle call, come on, don't mind what Mussolini says, let us march in battle array, and take a gun in our hand and defend the Ethiopian war, declare.
At the League of Nations in Geneva, the emperor went to plead Ethiopia's just cause. The League, fearful of a shadow which would turn into the Second World War, did nothing. Shamefully, the great powers left Ethiopia to Mussolini and the emperor to lonely exile in England.
His Majesty Negus Haile Selassie, I call upon the first delegate of Ethiopia.
Nowhere, I think, was the emperor's tragedy felt more deeply than among the black people of the West, the slave descendants in North America and the Caribbean. Black consciousness had dawned in Jazz Age Harlem, and Africa fermented in the exiles' hearts. Many supported a black activist called Marcus Garvey, and when he demanded Africa for the Africans and repatriation to the homeland, they saw Ethiopia as a special symbol of the whole continent. Until now, it alone had not been seized by white Europeans. Such people volunteered to fight for Haile Selassie, although only a handful managed to go, or they organized to send relief.
Black Americans rallied towards the cause, and black Jamaicans likewise, and so the organization was formed in New York, 105th to 1 Lenox Avenue, New York, and as Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. Those people gave up monies, medicine, clothes, and what have you, and sent into Haile Selassie.
Do you think of yourself more as an African than a Jamaican?
Yeah, because one of the main things is that we're Rasta. From you accept Rasta, you become an Ethiopian, which is Africa. Next thing again, the history of Jamaica shows that the Arawak Indian was living there, and it belonged to the Arawak Indian. Now, our history shows that through slave business, black people come out of the Western thing, you know? So we still figure, say, Africa is a root, you know, and this is where we must return to.
What do you see as most of Africa's problems as far as uniting? I mean,
I see Africa's problem is that outside people keep on fatiguing the people, you know, and make them can't really get them things together. You know, if it's not this superpower, it's that superpower. But Africa is only a place which part of music exploit, you know. Nobody no really. Africa so rich that it become a man just go to Africa, steal out what he want to steal and carry back in a film country. And Africa stay there like, you know, well, Africa ready.
Garvey used to say Africa for the Africans. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, Africa for Africans, a woman abroad, you know. True.
Will your home base though always be Jamaica, or someday would you like to live in Africa?
No, someday going to be in Africa.
Yeah.
Maybe we up in Jerusalem. You know what I mean? And then Bible land.